what to say. Sunday gave me the power divine. I'll let my little light shine. Oh, this little light of mine, Lord, I'm gonna let it shine. All in Mississippi.
We present part 3 of This Little Light, a series of documentaries on Mississippi in 1964.
Hammer, I loaded it. I left it with one of you fellas. I lost the bet. I bet $1 that would go to the community center that we have.
We make it through, Al.
There goes that. What?
We make it through, Johnny.
Dead or my eye. I said noon. I just lost $1. Thanks a lot. Couldn't you have worked harder, smart aleck?
It'll go in the...
You should see these things, by the way. Clean up the school.
When I arrived in Harmony, Mississippi, local citizens were in the process of building a community center. Directions for getting to Harmony were given to me by COFO workers at Canton. Harmony is off the main route to Philadelphia, somewhere south of it in the maze of dirt roads, barely 20 miles from the scene of the murder of Andrew Goodman, James Chaney, and Michael Schwerner. And I recall, as I wandered over the hills searching for Harmony, wondering whether or not I would be likely to wind up in the arms of rednecks. Fortunately, I stumbled instead on a group of men and boys and girls, hammering, sawing, and laying the flooring for a good-sized building. The greeting was enthusiastic.
Hi,
Alan, dear. Thank you.
Get your helmet.
Chris, I want you to meet Lily B. Lewis. Lily B. Lewis. This is Chris here. Very good. And this is...
Harmony is not unlike Valley View in appearance. The land around it is hillier, perhaps, and much of the soil is red clay, like Neshoba County. The homes may be a little bit more prosperous, and there are few, if any, sharecropper shacks. The general store may offer a slightly larger variety of goods. But what is strikingly different is the mood and atmosphere of Harmony's citizens. It was just before lunch when I arrived, and the men were knocking off to eat, when the women arrived with loads of fruit juice, salads, beans, 2 kinds of meat, biscuits, bread, and pie. The story of the building of the Harmony Community Center is another important part of Mississippi, for it is the story of a Negro community that has been self-reliant and united. During lunch, some of her citizens, Mr. Dodson, Mrs. Donaldson, and the Hudson sisters, told me about Harmony.
Harmony has been the leading community throughout Lee County. I'll almost say throughout the state, as long as I've known Harmony, as I've known the community, you see. I think it's about the first community that had a school after slavery, you see. First school after slavery, I understand, was set up in Harmony.
My father was born 5 years before slavery ended. He was 5 years old. Mm-hmm. And he's been living here all his life.
Mm-hmm. So it at least goes back to then and probably
That's
before.
Right. And probably before.
Mm-hmm. I also have a feeling that Harmony is a very strong community. That people have strong community. Why do you think that is?
Well, we have approximately a 5-mile square territory where people own their own homes. And then we just kind of, everybody work. The women work just like the men. If they have to drive a tractor or plow a mule, they'll do that.
It was about 8 families that bought this land in the 18s. About 1890 or something like that, I guess. And so these families went in together and bought this land. And the people began to multiply in here, where the white people moved out after the Negroes started buying big plots of land here. And so pretty soon, they own all of it.
The 5 square miles that make up Harmony contain some 100 families, almost all of them independent farmers. This in itself, of course, sets the community off from much of the rest of Mississippi. The striking feature of Harmony is their concern with education, for in their attempt to educate their children, they have forged a framework that organizes the whole community. Mrs. Hudson and her sisters are large farm women, related almost certainly to the family of former Governor Barnett. Their homes are simple but clean. Their workday is long, but they exist above subsistence and have time to take part in community affairs. Mrs. Donaldson, another community leader, has a large home on one of the paved roads just outside the Harmony area. I stayed with her when I was there, and the 3 of us discussed Harmony.
In 1922 and 23, Harmony got its first school system. Is that right?
Well, that's right, but before then, you know, we had school in a little church. After we left the church, we moved over about a quarter of a mile and bought 3 acres of land. And at that time, it was a millionaire, Julius Rosenwald, and he died, and he didn't have nobody but himself. So he fixed it where that Negroes could get the benefit of his money if they would match it. So we matched the Rosenwald Fund out of our money, our parents did out of their money, and built this first Rosenwald School, which was the first in the state of Mississippi. Then they began to move in and multiply, and people would send their children in to go to school. You know, wasn't no more schools around in the county, just little one-teacher type school. And the people around in the community would take boarders. Some of them would have 2 and 3 boarders from all over the county, sometime out of the county. And so they seen it necessary to build a larger building. So we built a large building then. This building is, I think it was about 7 rooms to this building, with an office and home apartment. This was the first in the county. And it wasn't many in the state of Mississippi. But we did most of this our parents did most of this on our own. Well, I say our parents, it was us too, because the children would put on drive, and we would sell tickets and raffle off things, and raise money, and help out on the drive. And then we'd have box suppers every Thanksgiving. Was a feast in the wilderness every Thanksgiving, and we'd make a big bunch of money on Thanksgiving, and that money would go. And so when that's when we'd bring all the money together on the feast in the wilderness, and then we'd pay off all the bill.
So then the school was the point around which the community gathered.
That's right.
And you had trustees of the school.
That's right.
How did that work?
We had 3 trustees at the time, largest portion of the time, until they consolidated schools. 3 trustees, they supervised. Then we had a strong PTA meeting, which took in all the parents, you see. And we'd have that once a week, probably on Friday evening.
How were these trustees selected?
They were selected by the members of the community, the parents.
You held an election for them?
Once a year.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any idea how this trustee situation was set up? Was this set up under Mississippi state laws or what?
It was. They would allow each school, you see, to have 3 trustees. As I remember that all my life that they've had 3.
Mm-hmm. Up until 1954, until this Supreme Court decision that segregated school was unconstitutional, well, we had the best lineup that I know of anywhere, because we had Negro trustees. We had 3 Negro trustees, and they did their own hire and fire. And when a teacher it wasn't like it is now. You see, teachers now, as long as you please a white man, well, you got a job. But back then, the first time you found a teacher sleeping on a job or out loafing, well, that was his job. And we raised money to send these 3 trustees to the State Teachers Association and about all over the state to find the best teachers. And if the county didn't pay enough money, well, out of this money that we would raise once a year, we'd supplement that teacher. When we was all here at Harmony together, well, it was almost a disgrace for a parent to find a child out of school. You see, when you find a bunch of children out of school, well, somebody go see about those kids. My girl never missed a day out of school as long as she was going to school out here, but she finished here at Harmony. You see, these parents would get these children up before daylight. I've known them to get them up before daylight and put them in the field, let them work until daylight, and then get them ready and rush them to school. Then when they come from school, well, they had everything ready for them, and they just dress them and put them in the field. So that's why you see these children on the job here. None of them lay up and sleep till way up in the daylight. See the kids.
1954 was the turning point for Harmony. That year, the Supreme Court handed down the decision requiring the desegregation of public schools. The state of Mississippi responded quickly by devising methods to fight the inevitable specific order to desegregate their schools.
Well, see, after 1954, After that Supreme Court decision, well, this Mississippi made a new law. You know how many laws they make? They make laws every day. They made a new law to do away with these local trustees and set up each county, 82 counties, in a county unit system. And this put our school under the five man with the county superintendent. It's 5 men on the county board with the county superintendent. So they took over, and that they took the power away from our trustees. And so our trustees they didn't have nothing to do. They told them they wouldn't have nothing to do but see the doorsteps being fixed and the building kept clean, helped to see to the building.
And you know, I just think that is real bad. We told Mrs. McDonald and my sister here and myself, we went in and talked with the county superintendent, and we told them that we just thought it was real bad, you know, for them to take the power away from the Negro trustees, because we told them, says, now you know more about your people and what they qualify for, and we know more about ours, because we deal with them, and then the trustees would get out and inquire about these people. We said some of the teachers that the board brings in on us is not worth nothing, and that's the way it is in these schools now. Just regardless of how bad a person is, just so he pleases the white man. And a lot of the teachers that's teaching the children now, my children is always complaining. They says they come in sometime, they just be so disheartened. Back this last school term, they would be so disheartened sometimes. They said, Mama, says, one of my little girls, she just near about cried. She'd come in, she said, Mama, we're not doing nothing. Says, the teacher that's teaching this, I forget what subject it was, says he don't know nothing in that, and says we're not doing nothing. Says, and he just come out and told us, says, this is not my major, and I just don't know nothing about it.
Would there be any possibility of your reopening your community school? And have you looked into that possibility, the one that was closed?
Well, you know, we tried real hard to get it back, and they closed 2 or 3 times. They claimed it's going. The governor came out once. We was having such a upstairs hill at this school, and we had a lot of white people helping circle petitions to bring it back because they knew it would be something else behind it. And so the governor came out, Governor Ross Barnett, you know him. He came out one Sunday evening and walked over the building, and then he sent us word that he was going to put the school back and then put a junior college to bring in 5 counties. But didn't anybody believe it. There was a few believed it, but didn't anybody believe that.
Along with breaking up Negro control of local schools and centralizing the system under the state, Mississippi began to construct new and handsome buildings for both white and Negro students, in building at least separate but equal. The Harmony School was closed.
After this Harmony School was moved, well, that was so hurting. And they started sending buses through here to pick the children up. And they were the most dilapidated buses, where we already had bad buses when we had our school out here. But we knew that those buses, if they was like they were when they was out here, see, our children could kind of get them to school out here at Harmony. But after they moved our school, well, part of the time the buses is broke down. Sometimes about maybe 3 days out a week, children could get to school just right. And I have known a lot of times that children be 9, 10 o'clock, and sometime after 12 o'clock get to school. And so you just get there maybe and stay 2 hours and back that long ride right back home. So we just decided that we'd do something about it. So we called in Medgar Evers, set up NACP, and asked for integration.
In 1961, we organized the NAACP under Medgar Evers, right here in my home. See, he's right there. We didn't keep it no secret, you know. We kept it a secret in a way. We didn't tell whose name is who, but they know the activity was in the community. That was in 61, and then that fought in fall of 61, where we boycotted the school over here that we were supposed to go to. We were supposed to go to Carthage and to Walnut Grove, and the school at Walnut Grove is called Murphy High, and the one at Carthage is called Jerry High. But anyway, we boycotted that fall, and children stayed out about 6 weeks out of school. They boycott school started in August, I think it was. Yeah, the latter part of August. And children boycotted. And instead of going to school that day they were supposed to go to school, they had a big picnic down there where we building the community center. All the children came down there. Everybody, people stuck out for 6 months, and then they told them that if they wouldn't go, they weren't going to furnish no transportation nowhere at all if we didn't go to Murphy High. That's where they want us to go to. But nobody in the community, like some people, wanted to go to Journey as they had to go somewhere. So they decided that they would let them go to Journey. But they came in here and told us, we had a meeting with the school board, and they told us that we'd raised $35,000, that they'd open that school up and let it run that year. We had school meetings before then, had one over in Carthage at the courthouse, and thought we had the school back. And just a little something come up and they throwed it. And so whenever they told us we had to have $35,000 and they'd open the school up that year, well, people just kept getting up, walking out of church. We just had to meet in the church because we knew it wasn't no way for us to raise that kind of money out here in the community. But then after then, they sent us some buses over. And I think it's 3 buses that comes in here now and carry the children to Sheridan High.
Is there enough room in these?
No, that's right. That's why now. That's one of the whys that we were like. See, they had 7 white, but as a whole, we had more children in school than they did. And we had 3 schools, and they had 7. They put us out of there as soon as that was May the 24th, 1961, when they put us out. They moved everything in all the little equipment that was in the building. They moved it down to Murphy High. That's where we were supposed to go to. And a lot of those chairs that was in the building, well, we bought them a large portion of ourselves. Most families would pay $10, you see, and buy. And those that didn't, they pick cotton, you see, I'd give a portion of the cotton, you see, 100 pounds of cotton, something like that, if they didn't have the money. They take those chairs out at Murphy High, and I have a cousin that lived there joining on the camp, and she said those that they didn't need, they just built a big bonfire there. Pile them out there and burn them up.
Harmony School boycott and what is better known as the Leake County desegregation suit were 2 of the first actions in Mississippi which began steps that ended only this summer in the desegregation of 1 school grade in Leake and 2 other counties. The 3 intervening years before this token action was taken were filled with intimidation and delay.
This must have been one of the first integration suits filed in the state of Mississippi, I would guess.
Yeah, it was the first one because we was looking for it to be rough, not quite as rough as we thought it would be. Although we lost Medja, he started out with us, and we lost Medja, but he told us at the beginning that we didn't know who would make it through, and so I don't know, is this right? I hear caused his death or something in Jackson. See, he was killed there in Jackson, but he stayed out here a lot of times with us. We always kept him hid kind of until day. Never would let him leave at night when we'd have our meetings at night. Well, we always keep him out here till the next day and tell him when he go home to say something that we did or make a call or something, let us know we made it home all right.
You say it was pretty rough. Can you describe some of the things that happened to you after you instituted this suit?
Well, they said myself and my sister and her husband, we was, the head leaders of it, and so they began to put pressure on us then. I had been borrowing money at the bank, my husband and myself, since about 56, I believe. The same year that this lawsuit was filed, well, after they, after the news reporters talked to me, and that's when they began to pressure me. So that Mr. Sasher at the bank, he's one of the I think he's chairman of the board maybe. So he wrote me a letter to come in that fall, and he wanted to talk with me about my loan. But when I got in there, he was wanting to talk about this lawsuit, And he began to tell me how good they had been to me. the people in Carthage, how good they had been to me, and he didn't think I should go along with this lawsuit. So he talked on. We sit there about an hour and talked. My sister came in to see about me. So we were still talking, and after he couldn't persuade me, to withdraw from this lawsuit, he said, well, I guess we're going to have our money. I said, well, that's your privilege. I said, if you can't give me a chance to pay it, I said, well, you just have to foreclose me. He said, well, that was in November. He said, that's 1st November. He said, well, the board won't meet before about the last of November. And says, I'll notify you. And so it was near Christmas. They sent a man out to pick up my stock. They got 1 mule and 2 milk cows and 2 yearlings. Oh, yes, and a wagon. Mm-hmm.
Well, one thing happened to me here this year. We had been in such a strain, and over at Forest, Mississippi, Johnson County from here in Scott County, they have a chicken plant down there, and it's a government contract. It's on the USDA, that's United States Department of Agriculture. And so I went down about 5 or 6 times, and about the 6th time I was down there, I got hired. The 2nd day, I asked some of the workers there, I said, how am I doing? They said, you're doing excellent for a new employee. And on the 3rd day I worked, well, I was just going in with my work, and I thought I had really got it, and all my co-workers thought I had caught on real good. And about 9 o'clock, my foreman touched me in the back and told me to come on and go with me. So I followed him. He said, he was a young guy, looked like about 25. He said, come on, go with me over to this next line to pick chicken. That's what I was doing, picking chicken. So I followed him over to the next line. He said, pick them damn chicken. I said, okay. I started picking them. He said, come on. Say, you don't suit me worth a damn. So I followed him on over, and he put me the hanging chicken. Before I hung about 3 chickens. And so he said, leave them chickens alone, come on, go with me. I followed him on, he carried me to the clock and reached my card. I said, what you mean? I said, you mean you fine? Hell yeah, I'm fine. I said, you don't suit me worth a damn. I said, when I done my work, I said, you don't suit me worth a damn. I said, if you don't suit me, you don't stay in here. So I saw he fixing to fire me. He punched my car. I said, so you fired me? He said, yeah. I said, well, I want to tell you one thing. I said, this is a government contract, and I know it's a government contract. And I said, if you fire me, I'm gonna report you. I knew it was something happening because the evening before they fired me, I saw 2 men standing behind me talking. And I figured they had called in at Carthage and maybe got my record as being a civil rights worker because I was carrying somebody into register every day, almost every day or 2. And so I came on back home that evening and called in ACP office. They told me to come down and make out an affidavit. I went down and made out an affidavit, and a fella came out from, I think he's from Atlanta. Came out and got up, found out all about it. He said he's from the USDA, United States Department of Agriculture. And so he went down and stayed, I don't know, I think they say somebody was in that 3 weeks, but I haven't heard anything else about it. I don't know what they did anything about it.
When the summer volunteers came into Harmony, they were greeted by 50 people lining the dirt road in front of the church, cheering. It was a reception they hardly expected. They worked with the community to help develop and build the community center when they learned that they would not be able to occupy the empty school buildings of the old Harmony School.
We had a community meeting and decided to build us a little recreation place of our own.
And that's the recreation place that I saw.
That's right, that we're trying to build now. That's right.
What kinds of things will the community center be used for?
We have a large supply of books. We're going to have a library, and then all kind of recreation purpose. And then we plan to have an office space in the front there, and a little snack bar on the other side over there.
Why are you building a community center?
Well, for the betterment of our children. need somewhere for our children to go for recreation, to meet. They don't have anywhere to go. We're just trying to build something to help them, and the older too, the grown-ups too. It'll be a help to the grown-ups to have a place to go and meet, you know, and maybe read different books, read up on different things.
So how is it being administered? Who's handling, for example, who owns the land?
Well, I own the land. And here before, I've been offered $1,000 for a lot share, you see. And by this, the community working this in, I'll let them have the land for $150. Yeah.
So really you're almost giving it to
them?
them?
Yes, almost giving it to them. I've been offered $1,000. I wouldn't take it for the plot, you see. But by putting something in here for the betterments of the community, well, I just said I'd just let them have it for just $150.
Well, that looks like about, what, 60 by 40?
30 by 60.
30 by 60.
30 by 60.
How much does it cost to build a building?
$1,300. $94.60.
And that's with no furniture?
No.
Well, that's a lot of...
Now, that's just, you might say huddling the building up. That's not completing it. That's completing the outside. Doors and windows with the top. $1,394.60.
Everyone I talked to who had been to Harmony during the summer spoke of it as an oasis in the state of Mississippi, and when possible tried to finagle some kind of business there that would let them spend the night. There are other oases in Mississippi and other communities almost as attractive as Harmony, although not many. Harmony is one end of a spectrum, the most desirable end. Yet we should bear in mind that for the Negro, even the best offered is only the chance to struggle on an uneven footing with the white.
You said that Harmony was a leading community. Well, it has been a leading community, but for the last, since '54, well, it look like we have just been on the freezing outside. It look like they just froze us out. You see, our land have grown up. All this used to be pretty land through here. Weren't able to get us no machinery, and you just can't ditch with a shovel like you used to and make a living. You be ditching and starve, I reckon. See, if something's not done to help us convert this land into something where it'll soon be where, you see, you take the white people right above me, maybe a quarter of a mile. Well, I don't know how they get that money, but they get it some way through the government. And they get a bulldozer and clean the land back, and they buy a plot of land. While in 6 months' time, that land is cleaned back and so pretty with grass and ditching it off. But see, we're not able to do that. See, all this land around here, this is good land. As good as in the state of Mississippi, but it has grown up. Nobody able to keep up this land.
This has been Part 3 of This Little Light, a series of documentaries on Mississippi in 1964. The programs were produced from field recordings made in Mississippi by Chris Koch, Dale Miner, and Dave Welch. Production assistants were Kathy Dopkin and Willie Ross. The programs were written and produced by Chris Koch for Pacifica Radio.